So first thing, if the machine is cold, make sure it's on number 2. Okay. It should be at around 1.2. What's the pressure inside? Make sure you have steam. Good. There should be hot water. Not cold, not cold. Okay, hot water. This is for a single shot. Okay, these should be programmed for the same. Same on this, same on this. These two should be a double shot, okay, using the double basket. You have 2 different size baskets, and we'll get you a different size spout too. But you have a single basket, which is 7 grams, and a double basket, which should be about 12 to 14 grams, okay? Single basket will do 1 shot, double will do 2 shots. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I think they actually have a triple basket somewhere. Yeah. Have you guys ever made drinks before? No. No? Okay. So the handles go in the machine like this, okay? These little wings have to slide in, okay? And then they lock into place, okay? Now, you always want to keep the handles inserted into the machine at all times. Everything has to be hot. If the handles are not hot, the coffee will come out watery. If the machine is not hot, coffee will come out watery. If the coffee is not fresh, it'll come out watery. The main thing you want to get a very good coffee, you have to have fresh coffee, a hot machine, and hot handles. Okay. So we're going to make a single shot of espresso. It's a good idea to do before you make a shot. Just wipe this out. Okay. Don't run it under cold water, and try not to rinse it out in the hot water tap. What will eventually happen is people will rinse it out in the hot water tap, dump it in here, and then after about a week or so, the drain gets clogged. So try not to do that. Yeah, and if you're busy, you don't have to do it after every shot. But if you haven't made a drink in 20 minutes, half an hour, it's a good thing to wipe it out beforehand. Yep, dry cloth or a rag. You should always keep a rag. Usually in a bucket with some sanitizing solution, a little bit of bleach or something. Okay, and that'll be used to wipe off the steam wands and just kind of wipe things down in general. So what we're going to do is do a single shot. Push it and do 1 dose, which isn't enough. Going to level it off. Okay. Light tamp. Okay. The harder you tamp it, the slower it's going to come out. Wipe off any coffee that's on top. Okay. On the wings. Okay. Put it into the machine, and you're going to hit the single shot. Okay. You should notice it should come out slow stream but steady. With a nice crema on top. Okay. Color should be caramel or brown. Okay. Once it starts turning light and white, you've already extracted everything out of the coffee, and all you're going to get is more bitterness out of it. So, see right now, that's pretty much as you can get out of the coffee. Okay. Which is usually about an ounce to an ounce and a half. We're going to stop there. There should be about an ounce of coffee inside there. Ounce and a half. That should be good for 1 shot. Okay. We're going to do a double with a double basket. Okay. Again, light tamp. Okay. Usually the double you can tamp a little bit harder. Wipe off the top. Wiping off the top is important. Whatever you don't wipe off is going to go inside the head, and then over a couple weeks, it's going to get all clogged and kind of start leaking around the edge.
You don't use this?
You could use this tamper too, yeah. Yes. We'll put this tamper over here. Usually, nice coffee shops will always have a nice tamper. Sometimes I like to tie them down with a piece of rope because they have a tendency to walk away. But we'll do a double shot. Usually there's a double spout on there. Just a problem. Just unscrew that with a double spout.
So if you don't tamp it, will it come out this well?
It'll still come out, yeah. It'll still come out with this machine. If you don't tamp it, you'll still get a decent shot. Yeah. you always want to tamper just to level it off a little bit. Some people, like Starbucks, they tell you to put it on the table, put 50, 60 pounds of pressure on top of it. There's no need to do that. So, you guys want to try making an espresso?
Sure.
You can tell how occasionally you will need to adjust the grinder based on how it's coming out of the machine.
Okay.
See, now it's coming out in a straight stream, so that's pretty good. If it's coming out very slowly, it needs to be made a little bit coarser. Okay. Picture it like this. You have about 120 psi coming out of here. So, if this is filled up with marbles, all this water just comes through very quickly.
Right.
Okay. If it's filled up with very fine sand, it takes a lot longer for the water to filter through.
Right.
So the finer that this coffee is, the slower it's going to come out.
Okay.
So usually, if it's coming out like that, you do two things. Either you packed it really, really hard, or there's a lot of coffee inside there, or most likely it's just just needs to be made a notch coarser. Okay. And to adjust the grinder on here, you have to move this a little bit, but I'm afraid to do it too much because it feels like it's going to snap. So just a little bit, okay? And then do a shot, and then it'll adjust it. So if it's coming out too fast, you want to make it a little bit finer. If it's coming out too slow, you make it just a notch coarser, okay? And you have to adjust it based on the temperature too and the type of coffee. So if it's very humid, you need to make it a little bit coarser usually, because the coffee will absorb the humidity. And if it's really dry out, like in the wintertime, you need to make it just a little bit finer, okay? And it's all based on how it comes out of the espresso machine. So a single shot should be about half, okay? And a double shot should fill this up to the top. This is a little big for a double shot. This is probably like 5 ounces, I think. Yeah, usually this is good for a single shot, and then a double, maybe up to the top, a little bit more than that. So let's move on to some milk-based drinks. We're going to do a latte. So the next thing we're going to learn is how to get foam on top of the milk. Okay. Everybody gather around. Okay. Oops. So what you're going to want to do is put a thermometer inside. Okay, you want this to get up to in the red, about 150, 155, and then stop. Ideal temperature is about 160. About 175 milk burns, so you don't really want to get it over 175. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the steam tip inside. Okay. These are just to the side. Okay. And put the steam tip right on top of the milk. Okay. And continue to bring the milk pitcher down. We're introducing cold and hot air inside, making a little vortex on top. We're actually filling up the milk. Okay? And then if you just want to heat it up without getting foam, put it all the way at the bottom. And when it reaches the right temperature, shut it off. Okay. Now, as soon as you're done, what you want to do is open it, blow out any milk that's inside there. If you don't do that, those little holes at the end will get clogged and no steam will come out anymore. Then, with your rag, just wipe off the milk. And you want to get into the habit of doing that every single time you do a drink, or else this will get completely coated with milk and the holes will get clogged in a day. Okay. So as soon as you're done, let the steam out and then wipe it down. Okay. Now, every single drink is made with espresso and milk. All this machine does is just make a good shot of espresso and steam milk. Okay. There's all different variations of that, but all you have to learn how to do is get a very good shot of espresso and steam the milk correctly. And first we're going to make a latte. Let me just stir this up a little bit. Prevent throwing away all this milk. We're going to pour the shot of espresso in. Okay? So, we're going to pour the milk for a latte, latte is espresso, milk, and a little bit of foam. Okay? And this is where the spoon comes in. Just going to scoop out a little bit of foam. And that's your latte. Now we're going to do a cappuccino. Now, a cappuccino is espresso, milk, and a lot of foam. Okay?
Cappuccino is a 2/3 foam milk and then a third steam milk, and a latte is just the opposite. So a third foam milk on top and then rest steam milk. So
We'll do another shot, double shot. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more milk. Going to reform it. Okay. Going to pour the shot inside. Okay. And then we're going to pour the foam inside. Shake it a little bit back and forth. If it's still not coming out, use the spoon to take it out. Now you have a latte. Sorry, cappuccino. Very similar. This one has a little bit more foam than the other. Cappuccino is a cap. Figure a cap. Cap has a cap of foam on top. And a latte is just milk. Latte in Italian means milk, so it's just milk with a little bit of foam. Everything else you would add sauces and syrups to these drinks, and usually the most common thing is a latte, because that's usually the easiest thing to make. So most people will order a latte at Starbucks, shot of espresso and warm milk, and then they'll add sauces and syrups to it: chocolate sauce, caramel sauce, French vanilla syrup, hazelnut syrup, and kind of make like a mixed drink. And there's all different ratios and different recipes to do those, but they all start off with this.
At what point do you add the sauce?
Okay,
Before
so
or do-
now if you're going to be doing sauces, thick sauces like chocolate, caramel, white chocolate sauces, what you would do is you would brew the shot of espresso, pour the shot of espresso into here, add the chocolate or caramel sauce to it, to the hot espresso, stir it up so it dissolves because the sauce is really thick. Dissolve it, then add the milk, and then usually you put a little garnish on top. So what you would do is you would have a squeeze bottle, like a ketchup bottle on top, and just do a little garnish on top. Okay. Syrups you could add whenever you want because it's just sugar water, so that'll dissolve very easily into any drinks. Usually you could do the same process: espresso, a couple pumps of syrup, and then add the milk on top of it.
So how do we get fancy with this?
Oh, fancies, you just have to doctor it up.
You know, maybe put a leaf or a heart or something.
Okay,
like
that's
that.
latte art.
Okay.
That's latte art. That gets more complicated. Okay.
I gotta fold the milk correctly first.
Yeah.
Right? That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so first, once you foam the milk up correctly and you're getting very good with foaming, doing the shots, to do the latte art, you need a wide mouth cup, okay? And then you have to do a very thick shot. So you want a lot of crema on top of the shot. You usually do a double shot into maybe about a 10-ounce cup, I'd say. And then you have to get the texture of the milk correct, and that's usually the hardest thing. Once you've been doing this for a while, you'll get the texture of the milk. Very, very small bubbles. See how these are a little bit on the big side?
Yeah.
You get micro bubbles, what they call.
Okay.
And usually you would use a little bit heavier of a milk, like a whole milk. This is this is a 1%.
I have whole milk right there,
Okay.
see if you want to try.
Okay, I'm not good at doing latte art. But you'll use a whole milk and get very small micro bubbles, and then what you want to do is kind of pour it on the side of the glass, and then so it goes underneath the espresso, pushes the espresso up on top, and then go to the side of it, kind of make a little design on top. Okay, and it's all in the wrist.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not going to taste any different, but it looks really cool.
I know.
Yeah. So, let's make some lattes and cappuccinos. Chai latte. Okay, so chai latte, what you would do, there's a couple different ways to do chai latte. So there's a couple different ways. There's powder version and then there's a liquid version. Okay, whatever you guys want to do. So what you would do is do a latte. Add the powder in first. Usually it's 1 scoop of powder. Okay. There's a couple different flavors of chai. Usually vanilla is very popular and regular chai is popular. Steam it up like you're doing a latte. I'm gonna get a spoon. And we are just going, no espresso, just the powdered mix. Stir a little bit. Dissolve it. Top it off. Make sure you stir it, especially if you're using a powder one, so it dissolves well. Here's a chai latte. Okay. So chai latte is just chai powder or chai concentrate and milk added to it. And you can add all different types of milk, skim milk, whole milk, milk substitute to it. Okay? It's very popular, chai lattes. Okay, okay, an Americano. Americano is 2 shots of espresso and hot water. Okay? That's it. They would use that in Italy because they don't have regular coffee brewers in Italy, so when American tourists would come, they'd make them Americanos. They would do a shot of espresso and dilute it. So that's an Americano. Okay? A latte, we already made lattes.
For the Americano, so you want to pull hot water off of your drip
Oh,
coffee brewer?
yeah. Pull it off of here. This is very, very hot. You may burn someone. Pull it off of here. Should be the perfect temperature. Usually set around 200 degrees, but that's boiling, 212, and it might be a little too hot for some customers.
Americano gets made here.
You just get the hot water.
water.
Yeah, just get the hot water.
Yeah.
2 shots.
We
Yep.
sell a lot of ice to that in the summertime as well, so just cold water is in there fine after the espresso with ice.
How about the
So
mocha?
mocha, what you would do, mocha is the same thing as a latte. You make a latte, you add the shot of espresso on the bottom, okay? Chocolate sauce on top. You could use whatever chocolate sauce you like. Stir it up, dissolve it, and then add hot milk on top. So basically it's a chocolate latte. What do we got? Okay, macchiato. So a macchiato is, we'd call it a stained espresso. Macchiato in Italian means stained. So you do a shot of espresso with a little dollop of milk, stained with a little bit of milk. Okay, so it's traditionally called an espresso macchiato. Okay, and in Italy, a latte would be called a latte macchiato. Okay, so in the United States, it kind of gets shortened, macchiato and latte. But a macchiato would be a shot of espresso with a little bit of milk. So it's like a mini cappuccino. Yeah, hot chocolate is a latte with hot chocolate with chocolate sauce into it. So the same thing like a mocha, just no espresso. So what you would do is you add the milk on the bottom. You add the chocolate sauce on the bottom. Add hot milk, stir it, dissolve it, and then top it off with hot milk. Okay. So hot latte, hot chocolate. White chocolate, same way. What you could do for a dark chocolate, you want to make a very strong chocolate, is if you could buy Ben's store for 24% cocoa, very heavy cocoa powder. Dissolve it with, put a little bit of sugar into it, and make a sauce by adding a little bit of water to it. And then you can use that instead of the chocolate sauce that you buy. That'll be very thick. But you have to get a very good chocolate. Try to get a 24% cocoa chocolate, and that'll give you a very strong. You have to charge a little bit more, but
Kind of make like a homemade sauce.
you make your homemade sauce.
And then the
Yeah.
same process as the rest.
Yeah, and then if you like that, and it might be actually more cost effective to do it that way and a much better flavor than buying because the pump ones basically taste like Hershey syrup.
Definitely.
You know,
And,
so.
in that sense, I can control the sweetness of it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit more work because it can't sit too long, and they actually have servers, stainless steel warmed servers that you would keep it in. You could pump it from there, that's the best way to do it.
When you said it can't sit for too long, are we talking about hours? Or are we talking about the whole day?
I don't know exactly, but I probably wouldn't keep it for more than a couple days. You know, and then refrigerate it
So
at
just
nighttime.
every day we can
Yeah,
take a new batch.
exactly. Right. I don't really have too many customers that do that, but if I had a coffee shop, that's what I would do. All the iced drinks. Okay, iced latte, iced Americano would be 2 shots of espresso over iced ice water, basically. Iced latte, 2 shots of espresso over iced milk. Cafe au lait is regular filter coffee, half filter coffee and half milk. Okay. Iced mocha, same thing, like a latte with chocolate sauce.
So for all the ice, you just don't do that on the phone?
Don't steam it up. Iced espresso. How do you want to do that? Okay, the way I would do iced espresso, there's a couple different ways. The way that they would do it in Italy is they would actually pour long shots, okay, add sugar to it already, and put them in little glass bottles and put them in the refrigerator. Usually in a display case, and then when a customer asks for an iced espresso, you pour a little bit out into a glass.
So
Okay?
you don't dilute it with ice?
No, you wouldn't dilute it. It doesn't taste very good when you dilute it.
That makes sense.
And
And
iced
do you
coffee.
already add sugar to
In
that?
Italy they would, but you might want to do just black. And then if you're doing a lot of iced drinks, since sugar doesn't really dissolve into iced drinks very well, you should use a simple syrup. Either make a simple syrup by hot water and sugar, or you could buy them already pre-made.
And the temperature doesn't affect that simple syrup?
No,
dissolve?
no, it's just it's just sugar water. That's it. But it dissolves very easily in anything iced. Decaf espresso. There's a couple different ways you can do anything decaf. You could get another grinder. Usually most people don't because they're not going through a ton of decaf. You could use pre-ground decaf. We sell them in little 10-ounce bags. You just scoop one in, pack it. It's not gonna come out great, but it'll come out pretty good. And then you could use pods also. We sell pods that will actually almost like a little pre-dosed, pre-packed out espresso. A little paper tea bag almost looks like. You put inside the single cup and brew 1 shot at a time.
Do you have to assign one head to a decaf?
Yeah,
Because
doesn't matter. You could.
there's
They're all
gonna be no
interchangeable. You could
residue
use them.
of caffeine in
No,
there.
no. You could. They're all interchangeable. You could use them on either head. You know. So the way to properly clean the machine at the end of the night, or at least sometime during the day, you want to do it once a day. You want to pop out all the baskets. Okay. Have a sponge.
A sponge?
Okay, no problem. So, what we'll do is, this is special coffee, espresso machine soap, not just coffee soap. You can only use soap that's designed for espresso machines. Don't use dish soap. For this part you could if you want to, but this usually works very well. But anything that goes inside the machine, that has to be specifically designed for it. Makes a mess. Okay, so you would make a little slurry with this. This soap dissolves anything that has coffee on it. Okay, with a sponge.
Now, in order to clean that, we're gonna have to set up a sink to do that, because this sink is.
This is the hand washing sink, right? Yeah.
Especially here, we do,
Yes. Okay. So you want to do this in the back, or another sink, another non-hand washing sink. This is only for hand washing. The longer you let it sit, the more coffee dissolves. Okay, and this could be used in the pots. Actually, it works very well in those stainless steel pots that the regular coffee goes into. Put a little bit of this and just a little hot water onto it. Let it sit overnight, and they'll come out perfectly clean. Okay. You want to clean all of this. Okay. Now, this is not stainless steel. This is just electrocoated, so it's actually brass. So the more you scrape it, the more of it's going to come off. And you want to clean it out, clean it nice. And then you also want to clean the back of this with the sponge and just a little bit of soap. A lot of times, if you clean it every night, you don't even need the soap. It'll just come out pretty clean. But if you haven't cleaned it in a couple nights or a week or so or months, you should probably use some soap. Single and the double. Okay. All the baskets.
what's the matter with that?
Okay, then to clean the machine, you're going to use this little rubber disc, okay? A little rubber disc on the single basket only. You're going to cover up the holes. This is called the blind filter. This will actually cover up the holes, okay? And then you're going to put a little bit of soap inside, Okay. Half a teaspoon of soap. Okay. Put it inside one of the heads. Okay. And start. Okay, any button you want, doesn't really matter. Now this is going to actually stop the water from coming out. And a lot of pressure is built up inside the head. The water and soap solution is going to actually go into the screen, into the valve, into the head, and then back down into the drain. Then you let it sit, okay? Then you go on again. And stop. And you let it sit for 15, 20 seconds in between, okay? It's called backwashing. You have to do it to each one of the heads. Okay, and it'll actually go into a drain bucket, probably on this machine somewhere here, and then it'll go into the drain. This will keep the screens clean, keep the heads clean, keep the valve clean. You don't do this, probably in about 4 or 5 months, the heads will stop working. They'll get all clogged up with coffee.
So
okay?
you don't have to do this every night?
You should do it every night, at least if you're doing 10, 20 drinks a day, you should probably do it once a night. At least on the heads that you're using. If you're not making any drinks, you don't have to do it every night, but you know, most coffee shops do it every night, sometimes twice a day. Yeah.
This is the last step you do.
This is the last step. You either do it in the morning when you're opening, or you do it at night when you're closing.
The other thing
Yeah.
first is that stuff.
Cleaning the handle.
Yeah.
Okay. And what you're gonna want to do is take it out. Okay. Notice all the soap dissolved. Just rinse it out. Okay. Now, without any soap, do it a couple times. That way you get rid of any residue that's inside there.
You don't want to just let it run by itself?
No, that way it'll go backwards inside the machine. And occasionally when you do this, you will notice a little bit of water that'll come out of the drain. Okay. And then you go on to the next head. Okay. And a lot of places they'll have a couple of these so they can do 2 or 3 at a time. Okay. We'll put this aside. Now, if for any reason you forget, it's written on the back of the bottle, right there. Little picture diagrams, and then I have a big poster that could go to the side of the machine or on the bottom somewhere here. Proper cleaning procedure. Okay. On the handles, okay, there's a little spring inside here. Okay, this spring will keep the basket in place. If the spring isn't in there, the basket just falls right out. So when you're cleaning it, make sure the spring is in there and make sure you don't take it out. And if the basket is always falling out, you need a new spring. And we have all of those. Okay, just pop it in. There should be a little angle and that kind of holds it in place. And then when you put it in, just pop it in. Okay, pulling it out, just kind of pull it out. Okay. Now, you always want to keep the handles in the machine all the time, okay? If the handles are left like this, they're going to cool down, they're going to make a bad coffee. Always keep the handles in the machine. You don't necessarily have to keep coffee in them, but just keep the handles in the machine at all the time, so everything stays hot. If you haven't used Faema for half an hour or so, okay, any one of the heads, you might want to do a little flush, okay? Flush it, purge some water through it, stabilize the temperature of the head, okay? This, notice there's 4 holes in the bottom. If one of them gets clogged, you can use a paper clip or a toothpick, or you could actually, with a pair of pliers or sometimes your hand, you could actually unscrew the tip, okay? Try not to do this too often because you don't want to lose the tips, and then just poke out the holes, okay, and wash it out. And then screw the tip back on. Don't hit this button, okay? This button will fill up the machine with water, okay? The machine will automatically fill up with water. This is from the olden days when they used to have to fill up the machines manually. You'd actually have a glass, you'd have to look at the glass, make sure it's always at the right level. And for some reason, Faema and a couple other companies still have them on their machines, on their older machines. The newer ones, they don't put them there anymore. But people have a tendency to play around with the button, and then it's supposed to be only half filled with water. There's a big boiler inside here like this, half filled with water and half filled with steam. The more water's in there, the less steam you get out of here. And then eventually, if you're playing around with that too much, the water overfills and then comes spraying out of the top and makes a mess. Okay, so try not to play.
Moral of the story is don't touch that button.
Don't touch the button. And occasionally you want to run this and just let water come out. Okay, that's the only way you're gonna get water out of the machine, out of the boiler. The heads do not actually, they have separate boilers for the heads. You have heat exchangers inside the big boiler. So by doing this, you're not actually getting water out of the boiler. The only way you get water out of the boiler is this, and by consuming steam. Okay? Okay? And there should be a water shutoff somewhere around here. If there is any issues,
Shut off is underneath it.
okay, if there's any issues where water's pouring out, you probably want to shut off the water and then shut the machine off, and then give us a call or give a special. Any questions?
All right, everybody's an expert now, right?
Practice. Get a couple gallons of milk and just practice steaming.
Okay.
Practice steaming. Practice making all of the drinks. In Hartford, you have to be very quick.
Yeah.
You have to try to get the orders out as fast as possible. If you don't get the orders out quick, people are not going to come back. So you have to be quick and you have to be ready before you open up.
Right.
Okay? Yeah.
Okay, that's
Good.
good, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good.